Good afternoon and welcome to the final of the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships, coming to you live from Coolangatta Beach here on the Gold Coast. My name's Max Stenstrom. I'm joined in the commentary booth for this game by Oakley Ryan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Max. We're in for a ripper game this afternoon between House Party and Giddy Up. Both teams have been undefeated in their pools thus far, so it's going to be an absolutely ripper game out here today.
It is indeed, but before we get stuck into that, we want to take this opportunity to mention one of our long-standing crew members here at Ulti TV. Rex Johnson has recently become a father for the first time, so congratulations to him. Young Felix has entered the world happy and healthy, so congratulations to the two parents, and we wish them all the best. Speaking of other great news, House Party and Giddy Up both going undefeated so far this tournament. Neither of them are suffering a loss yet, but one of them will have to come out on top this afternoon.
That's exactly right, Max. Giddy Up have been the black horses, the dark horses of this game. No one, I don't think anyone expected them, or expected to do well, but their seeding did not reflect that. They took out some of the earlier to the top seeds earlier in the pool play and asserted their dominance on that side of the field. And then House Party absolutely dominated, coming out first seed from their win last year, and just managed to hold on to that to get themselves in prime position for this final.
It's true, coming in they were seeded 7th, and I spoke to them earlier about their goals coming into this tournament. Did they have a specific placing they were aiming for, or a goal in mind? But their number one goal, they said, was just to beat their seed, to prove the doubters wrong, and I think they've certainly done that already, making it to the finals despite their 7th seed. But obviously, when you make it to the finals, there'll be plenty to play for.
That's exactly right, Max. I had a chat with Max Howden from House Party earlier today, saying that he was really hoping to get to play Giddy Up in the final, and those hopes have come true. Now it's just a question of who's going to come out on top.
House Party are, of course, the defending champions here at the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships. They were last year's gold medalists in a cracker of a match, and I'll see whether they can replicate those medal-winning performances, or whether Giddy Up, the new kids on the block, will be able to knock them off the podium spot.
Giddy Up, more of a pickup team, mainly Sydney-based with a few interstate pickups. Their chemistry, or the lack of chemistry, certainly hasn't shown throughout the weekend, with them asserting their dominance over every game that they've played. House Party obviously being played together for a few years now and in multiple different tournaments. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if House Party can continue and go back-to-back for gold, or if Giddy Up's just going to upset it and then come out on top.
Giddy Up draw together players from a few different places, as you mentioned, the core of which is Sydney, but of course they've got a couple of Canberra pickups in Hannah Monty and Abby Dawson, as well as the power of Perth in Ryan Kelly, who's made the commute across from the West Coast to provide them with a little more potency and pace downfield. They do, of course, also have Fernando himself, Richard Fernando, from Christchurch, New Zealand, over here as well. A late addition, a late pickup to this team, who's already showed his value as a supreme athlete, generating a lot of turnovers for them, always willing to put his body on the line. We'll see whether more of his heroics come into play in determining the outcome of this final.
That's exactly right, Max. In the stream earlier today, we saw some absolutely phenomenal plays from their Kiwi pickup, Fernando. So we'll be hoping to see some more amazing stuff from him today. Both teams have shown great athletic plays throughout the day, so I'm expecting some big things in this game. Really, really hard defense, clinical offense. It'll be interesting to see if the level of defense, similar to the semi-final that was played earlier, between Turtle Club and House Party, means it's going to be a low-scoring game or not.
House Party not short on athletes themselves. Plenty to watch out there. Their initial offensive line, if you had to pick one athlete on the field, it has to be Alex Gann. The guy is quickly developing a reputation as one of the most difficult two-way players to slow down or shut down on the field. Pace to spare, he's lightning quick, and with deadly throws as well, it's really just a case of pick your poison. He's going to hurt you one way or another, but we'll see whether Giddy Up can contain him as the game is underway, as Alex Shepherd sends the pull downfield.
Paul lands in the end zone, but rolls out. Martin Forrest just slowly jogging to go collect it, and we'll be bringing it in at the front of the end zone. Giddy Up getting plenty of time to set up their defense. House Party electing to stick with what they know, and they're playing three-man handler, two cutters downfield. Those two cutters being Gann and O'Neill, who played absolutely ripper games in their semi-final earlier. Forrest with the disc. Doesn't really have anything. Puts the B up. He has Gann streaming deep. Shepherd hot in his heels.
This is a matchup and a half!
Shepherd just tips it over the top again.
It was in the second effort that he got his left hand to it and swatted it away. Nicely done by Alex Shepherd. This is the Giddy Ups AUL line. Every player on the field will be competing later this year in the Australian Ultimate League, the professional league.
Thomas to Monty. Overthrows Thomas. Shepherd collects it again, hot in his heels there. Back to Thomas. Throws it up to Dawson, onto Monty, sorry, but just overthrows that very far, straight out the back of the end zone. House Party with another shot to try and get this one in.
It's worth mentioning this game is being played in a bit of a breeze. It's coming right to left as you're watching it. We'll see how they adapt to that throughout the course of this match. We saw Thomas's throw there get caught by the wind and pushed further out the back. It'll be very difficult to get those downwind shots to sit up in front of sprinting receivers.
That's exactly right, Max. We've seen it be a bit of an issue for everyone all weekend with the way the wind's been blowing far into that sideline. They pop up a throw, the wind just sails it straight out the back or too far in front of the receiver, and then it just gets turned very quickly. Forrest bringing in the disc now for House Party. Finds Gann in the center of the field. O'Neill streaming deep but comes under. He can't quite get the break off to her. He does now. She hits Forrest again. As Gann and Tamas are both going deep and they have no undercuts. Forrest doesn't really have much, pops it up. It's being carried a lot.
Pack form's underneath it.
And Shepherd had the read on that one. He picks it up straight away and goes to Thomas. Back to Shepherd. Hits Monty in the center of the field. She gives it back to Shepherd again. And he sells Gann there on the fake to Dawson. She pops it up. It's a lot of blade though. Thomas gets a hand on it. Forrest on the bid. It's a turnover though.
Great effort by Forrest getting involved there.
I think Dawson squeezed that throw in a bit too much. She had a lot of blade on that one. It sliced through the end nicely, but it just wasn't easy to catch. O'Neill in the center of the field. It looks like there was a bit of a miscommunication there. That might have been intended for Gann. He didn't think it was for him. Turns over right in the far sideline. Shepherd picks it up now. Has Carmen, sorry. Carmen on the receiving end of that one. Giddy Up, get an early first break.
Sneak that one down the sideline in a rapidly closing channel. Alex Shepherd doing a heap of work on the defensive end under floaty shots from House Party and then providing that assist for Giddy Up. The Shepherd-Gann matchup is one I'm sure we'll continue to see a lot of this game and may well be pivotal in determining who's able to drive their offense, as they've both played a crucial role for their teams all weekend long.
That's exactly right, Max. We're only 1 point in, and that Shepherd-Gann matchup has already produced some absolute stellar plays. I'm really looking forward to seeing that come out a couple of times more. Giddy Up now coming out on defense again, looking to try and get a second break and take an early lead in this final.
Something that's characteristic of the top teams at this tournament is, of course, the fact that they can put out a whole fresh line on the second point and it can still be full of top-level elite players with elite throwers and elite athletes. As we see here now, both teams responding with continued levels of high play. The hand goes up from both teams, and Fernando will launch the pull for Giddy Up. It's fielded by Connell, who'll move it to Haldon. Chodos underneath. Comes near side to Valancourt. Valancourt has Manescu. Haldon streaking, but he fakes to come back under. Gets a little clogged now. Chodos comes near side. Fernando with the athletic play.
That's exactly what we were expecting to see there from Fernando.
And he keeps working and earns himself an under from Petroni Van and immediately fakes the big. Sends Haldon to the floor. And it slows down now as Petroni Van injects a bit of calm, collected offense into this play. Big bid from Manescu, but it's recovered by Mortimer. She centers to Fernando. Thinks about the swing to Petroni Van, but it's not on.
Oh.
We've got...
Looks as if there was a little bit of a headbutt of some kind. Accidental headbutt between Fernando and Haldon there. And Haldon coming off with the injury.
Bit of bump and grind. He's clutching at his nose.
There's no blood that we can see, but he looks a little bit sore. Just a discussion whether there was a foul on that or not.
Amicably discussed. Props to Max Haldon for taking a hit and still being super reasonable. And play will restart. Fernando fakes big. Petroni Van heads up line. Gets a little dish, looks for it back. Petroni Van will provide, and Fernando jumps that one in. Giddy Up. Jump out to 2-0.
Giddy Up with another break, up 2 breaks now on House Party. House Party, I think this is the first time all tournament they've been facing this kind of deficit.
It'll be interesting to see how they respond. As you say, they haven't had a lot of practice playing from behind. They haven't been forced to dig themselves out of a hole, and we'll see whether their mental state is up to it, whether they've got that determination, that grit, and that grussel to keep pushing through.
Coach Brett Latham out there with House Party, probably giving them some wise words of wisdom, how they can convert now, get this score in, get some chalk on the board.
In terms of House Party offense, it's been a little bit different from what we've seen earlier in the weekend, usually being able to generate a lot in the underspace, but so far this game have struggled to get open there and have been forced to take a couple of higher stall count deep shots.
It's a big pull from Kelly, but just goes, from Thomas, but just goes straight out the back of the end zone. Chodos just watched it sail out, goes and collects it, and we'll be bringing it back in from the brick mark. Running it back in now. Looks like House Party is going to continue playing with the 3 handless set. No, it's changing up. 2 handless, 3 downfield. Probably looks like they might try and isolate Fisher Day there, give him some space as O'Neill streams deep. And that's a score. House Party have got themselves on the board. Kath O'Neill looking a little bit confused there, not sure if it counts or not.
No, that was a lovely goal from Catherine O'Neill and a lovely shot from Fisher Day. He's obviously one to watch in the future, has played for the New South Wales under-22s team and is now breaking into the open age bracket with a bang, mixing it with the best. And that's 2-1 to Giddy Up. House Party, the onus is on them to change something up and to get the break, but obviously early days with plenty of time left to do just that. Connell, who will pull this disc to get this point underway, is a very experienced beach player, having played with the Australian men's team in Royan, France. They have a number of other players who've played in the green and gold on this surface, in Gan and others. So they're not strangers to the vagaries of Beach Ultimate. And we'll see whether that experience can help them get those breaks that they now desperately need. As Shepherd will field that pull, stumbles a little.
Nearly lost it, Shepherd did.
Centers to Thomas, who will waste no time going deep. He has Monty underneath it, Manescu in the region, but Monty reads it better. Goes the inside forehand, out in front. Can she get there?
Too far out in front for Longley. Monty tries to thread the inside flick, put it out in the leading pass, but it was just too much for her.
Perhaps a little hasty as Tamas finds Gan in the center. Here's Connell going deep, and he'll send it the other way, but that's flat and fast and well out in front.
Giddy up getting the disc back now.
And we do have that Shepherd-Gan matchup again. Fireworks, I'm sure, will come from that. As Thomas has Monty isolated. She cuts deep. Instead, he goes under to Dawson. And looks for the immediate dish and is given it. Shepherd's now going deep. Thomas will reach. Gan and Shepherd. And Gan gets the upper hand this
under
time.
That one. Has Manescu free, but elects Connell.
Back to Gan on the far side. Connell's working hard to provide options, and he gets it up line now. Doesn't like what he sees downfield, has to wait. Having to work very hard. Inside flick to Gan. Shepherd looking tired as he walks in to put the mark on. Leading pass out in front. But Monty's up to the task, and she's there to put the pressure on.
Gan pointing to where he wanted to throw that one, telling his receivers, I want to throw the disc here. And rightfully so, he put that one out, but he just put it out in too much space. And Wolf just couldn't quite get onto that one. Monty hot in the heels, bidding for that D.
Giddy up, sticking to their guns. Thomas picking up the disc with Monty initiating, heading deep. Seems to be their set play with Dawson coming across the front again. And we have an uncontested foul on the mark. Big Rory Connell putting the body on to the much slighter of frame Michael Thomas. They're similar in height, though Thomas almost certainly gives up a good 10 to 15 kilos.
Oh, Thomas nearly with the bid.
Monty has the disc, but nothing in front of her. Finally, Thomas comes deep, and Monty puts it out in front. Connell in hot pursuit. He goes well early, but that one sails, caught by the wind, and will go out of bounds. And Connell resumes his handling duties with Gan in the dump space. Shepherd tight on him. Goes for the inside forehand. Dawson on the mark. Goes to Manescu underneath. House Party content to dump and swing, showing nice patience and composure despite the grindy points that often lead to desperation hucks. Gan with the disc. Cutter's starting to look tired, not generating a whole lot downfield. The dump swing continues. Connell bursts up line but won't be rewarded. And a pass from Manescu, a little wayward. That could be the fatigue coming in.
Cutting from both teams just seeming to be a little bit lackluster right now as the fatigue starts to set in this long point.
And big contact between Dawson and Manescu downfield. They'll have a chat.
Bit of discussion happening about whether it's a foul or not.
They'll discuss. Either way, I'm sure both teams will appreciate the opportunity to catch their breath, rest their legs in this long point. House Party are hoping to, or will be aiming to lock this disc on this sideline with a big forehand force. See whether they can make Hannah Monty's life difficult.
Disc is coming in on 2.
Monty finds Longley. Longley holds on. Little dish to Monty. Inches within the sideline. Finds Thomas. Thomas, forehand out in front of Monty. She's got space, but it's hanging.
But she pulls it in.
Had two rapidly closing defenders and a bidding Laura Manescu, but Monty stays cool under pressure and under the disc. And goes up strong with 2 hands. And that's 3-1 to Giddy up as they get up early in this one.
That's exactly right, Max. Giddy up just having a little bit more efficiency, patience on offense, able to convert from those. Both teams playing really, really intense D and being able to get the turns. The hardest thing is then obviously converting those turns into goals, and Giddy Up just being more efficient at it right now.
And as we now are about to commence the fourth point of this game, it will be 3 women on the field. We are, of course, playing the gender rule that requires 2 points of 3 women followed by 2 points of 3 men, alternating throughout. We'll see whether the 3 women on the field changes the style from either team. House Party and Giddy Up, both with strong contingents of men and women at this tournament, both very deep teams, both with a bit of a next player up mentality, relying on whoever it is that's out there to get the job done.
Both teams being very efficient at using their whole rosters, so I think that maybe having 3 women on the field will just reduce the height a bit, might change up the style of play that's being played on the field.
It's another 3-2, but in a vertical stack this time from House Party.
Forrest with the disc. Finds Epson on this far side, this close sideline, back to Forrest. Kath O'Neill outstretched, gets a hand to it. Valancourt also bids on it, but they just can't hold on.
That was nice defense from Beck Carmen, sagging off the dump, recognising that Forrest was the real threat with the disc there.
Sutton with that lefty around backhand. Forrest just plucks it straight through. He brings it back in, finds Epson again. To Howden, to O'Neill on the swing. She puts a nice inside to Forrest. Valancourt goes deep, it steps under. He plays that down the line. Howden's going round. She needs an option though. Forrest goes down the line as Valancourt puts it out in front to a big pack, and Epson comes down with it somehow. Dumps it back to Forrest. He's looking at his options. No stall count yet as Fernando sets on. He needs someone to give the disc to, and Kath O'Neill just fumbles it a bit and gives it straight back to Giddy Up.
Oh, that's a cold drop from Kath O'Neill on the doorstep of the end zone. That's a cheap way to give up possession in a game as tight as this one.
Fernando making Forrest work hard there. Sutton pays that, puts up a big backhand, but it's just gone.
Oh, huge bid! Richard Fernando shows why he's sometimes known as New Zealand's greatest player with athletic moves like that. Totally unnecessary and well out the back, but it looked good on stream, and that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a huge backhand there from Sutton. We've seen that multiple times throughout the weekend from Sutton paying that lefty backhand to the end zone. Just couldn't pay it off that time, but Fernando at least putting in a fortuitous bid and making himself look good. Forrest bringing the disc in now. So back. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep up this intensity now and get another D and convert, as Rory Connell puts up a big pull. Fielded by Alex Shepherd to Thomas. Doesn't really have an option, but finds Carmen on the under. Looks for Fernando, puts the under to Fernando, but it's just too close to the ground and he can't quite get there.
Looked like Carmen was a little bit disappointed with herself there. That's a cheap way to give it up. And we've seen how ruthless House Party can be.
Connell today, back to Connell, to Chodos. Swing to Epson. She needs an option, is looking for something. Puts the around to Tamas, but Tamas can't get there, even outstretched.
Carmen's running deep. Thomas picks up. Will he throw it? Yes, he will. Shepherd's in the vicinity.
Got yards of space, and they punish House Party for that execution error.
House Party may be the defending champions here, but Alex Shepherd is the defending Dulio champion in Australia. Showing his speed, going length of the field, leaving Connell in the dust. It's 4-3 to Giddy up.
That's exactly right. Shepherd showing his athleticism out there, floating over the sand, leaving Connell behind him, having yards of space, and it was a very beautiful throw just out to him there to take the lead again.
Alex Shepherd, of course, the #1 pick in the upcoming AUL. No surprises, really. The only surprise being how he wasn't picked earlier than that. He's a weapon, and they'll need big things from him here as House Party have responded to the first punch thrown by Giddy Up with a punch of their own. It's been a game of momentum swings so far.
House Party just figuring out if it's 3 men or 3 women on this point. Seems as if Giddy Up knows what's going on, yet House Party does not.
For Giddy Up, it's Sutton, Monty, Kelly, Mortimer, and Dawson.
House Party looks to have Forrest, Gann, Valancourt, Manescu, and O'Neill. Both very strong lines from both teams.
They are indeed. Both with one particularly strong male thrower and a core of athletic cutters who are capable of coming underneath and then punishing with throws of their own. Expect to see Forrest pilot this offense for House Party.
It's a big pull there from Sutton. Lands on the far sidelines, collected by Forrest. Centers to Gann. It's a deep stack there from House Party. There's not many options, but he finds O'Neill. She fakes down the line and finds Forrest again in the center. And he goes to the close sideline to Gann. He's looking, he's surveying. He puts it up. He has Forrest out there. He misreads it slightly and Dawson just gets in the way. And that turns for Giddy Up.
That's nice work by Dawson. Heads up play coming off her own player. She was marking Valancourt, but once the disc is in the air, it's anyone's game. And she gets her body in front of Forrest just enough to force him to take a slightly longer route. While the disc did eventually end up out of bounds, he wasn't able to make a play on it.
Sutton picks it up. He puts the long immediately to Monty. However, the blade on that just knocks it straight off her hand. And she picks it up and gets it moving again to Gann. Finds Valancourt in the center of the field. Can't get a dishy off, but finds O'Neill for the dump behind. Looks off Forrest, but finds him closer for the lateral dump. He pops it up to Gann, who's got Kelly hot in his heels, but Gann scores and brings it back to 4-all.
It's a tight one here as House Party respond. The last point ended up with Giddy Up scoring on the back of some pace from Alex Shepherd. Clearly gave Gann some ideas and said, hey, I can do that too. Just runs in a straight line very quickly and finds his way onto the stat sheet yet again for this House Party team.
That's exactly right, Max. House Party are going to need to work hard here. They're going to need to get this D and then get themselves on top. With the way the points are currently trading, Giddy Up's getting one, and then House Party is closing that gap again. House Party need to get themselves out on top. Otherwise, once time cap goes, they'll definitely be in the unfavourable position.
Both teams showing themselves very happy to pull the trigger and fire deep. I'd love to see a change in defensive look to maybe put a little more pressure on that deep shot, force them to go to the unders. Obviously, teams of this caliber are capable of doing it, but just forcing them to mix it up a little bit and respond can give you the initiative. Make them react to you rather than the other way around is always a good principle in Ultimate. Thomas shoots deep to Carmen. Carmen's in space. It's a nice throw, but a little too much juice on it. And again, that downwind shot proving difficult to throw with enough touch on it to allow your receiver to run on.
We've seen that that shot not come off many times today, as that wind just proves too difficult to be able to execute correctly. There have been people who have managed to do it, but we've seen it turn more often than not.
Chodos brings it back up. He's marked by De Silva. Moves it into the center of the field. Connell's coming across the face. Takes it nicely. Doesn't have a lot upfield. Has to wait. Thomas provides. Chodos working hard to go up lines. De Silva in pursuit. That's going to sit. A pack's going to form underneath it. And Thomas rises. And Chodos also ends up holding it. In a situation where there's a simultaneous catch, it remains with the offense. And it looks like that's what will happen here.
Unfortunate, because that was a really well-read disc from Thomas.
But the disc doesn't lie, and Thomas has the disc now. As that one hits the turf, he doesn't want De Silva, who's streaking deep. Instead, changes the angle, finds Carmen, who has De Silva underneath. Won't throw that either. Clearly no one wants to throw it to him. Thomas in the center now. De Silva, huge work rate, continuing to get free and continuing to be looked off. Longley on the near side, finds Carmen. They're about 8 meters out. Goes up line to Thomas, who's receiving a whole lot of physical attention from Rory Connell, but it doesn't phase him. And that's the goal. It's a lovely little flip in the end. Thomas can't keep up with Longley.
Just about all passes there hotly contested, with defense right on the heels and contesting those. Both teams playing very, very hard, very intense frisbee. And it's definitely showing how much they wanted out there. Giddy Up just being able to convert that one into a goal.
Giddy Up showing their adaptability as well, I think, at that point. We'd spoken about how it was difficult to shoot downwind, and we saw them struggle with that. And they adapted and changed their style and instead opted to work the unders the next time they got the possession. Take the shorter field options and wait until they had a 100% shot into the end zone. They worked hard with their legs, and eventually that option opened up for Longley, and they were rewarded.
We've seen that upwind flick huck hospital pass almost a few times now. Hopefully both teams are able to recognise that, learn from their mistakes and adapt, so we can maybe see some more clinical, safer options being taken.
It is certainly making for some high-octane, high-excitement frisbee regardless, as this pull comes in and we fielded by Max Howden.
Big pull from by Alex Shepherd. Howden to O'Neill to Valancourt to O'Neill as Monty's hot in her tails. She pops it up. She has Alex Gay on the receiving end. Can he get there?
You could see Gann turn on the extra gear and fire up the afterburners, but even he couldn't track it down. And all he has for his efforts is a mouthful of sand, unfortunately.
Fernando giving Gann a little tap on the shoulder there. Good job, bud. Great bid. Gann with a smile on his face, pulling some sand out of his ear. It was a great bid, great play. Just the execution wasn't quite there.
And that's another downwind huck that's unable to complete as it sails out the back. Shepherd will bring this disc back in. Monty, Dawson and Petroni Van setting up downfield. Imagine Dawson will initiate heading deep. Shepherd shoots to her. Molly Valancourt can't make up the distance despite the bid. No options present themselves immediately. Back to Petroni Brand. He goes with the around backhand, but holds on. Fernando can't provide a dump option. Petroni Brand finds Shepherd. Monty's working hard to provide something underneath. Shepherd over the top. Alex Petroni Brand, happy birthday! And Shepherd delivers the present to him on a silver platter.
Giddy Up go up by 2 now, taking a 6-4 lead. That's exactly what they're going to be wanting to be doing late in the piece of this game. There's only 10 minutes left, so House Party needing to claw this one back, or Giddy Up are just going to run away with it.
And that was the crucial upwind break for Giddy Up. We'll see whether they convert that into a downwind one, as is so often the case. The wind isn't devastating, but it's proven just enough to make life difficult for some of these players.
Playing 3 males this point. Brett Latham out there with House Party, setting out their offense, telling them what needs to be done. They have the upwind point ahead of them now. It'll be interesting to see what they can do.
That's a very flat pull. It'll land quickly.
Connell to Forrest. The cuts aren't really happening. Overthrows Manescu. Haldon tries to save it. Mortimer gets a hand to it as well.
Almost had players running into cameras there.
Into cameras there, exactly. Turns right in front of commentary and is picked up by Thomas. He's got eyes for the end zone, but dumps to Petroni Van. Back to Thomas on the far sideline now. Goes down the line again. Miscommunication between Callie and Petroni Van, and it turns and House Party get it back. Howden currently with the disc. Finds Forrest in the close sideline. He's looking, he's not really finding options, but Howden gives him a nice under. He puts a disc up. Manescu's hitting the end zone. Longley's with it as well. And Manescu just casually over the top of her head takes it down for the score for House Party.
Cool as you like from Laura Manescu. That one sat there. Manescu and Longley were right underneath it. It wasn't a case of who had better position. It wasn't a case of who jumped higher. Just ended up being Laura Manescu's left hand that had the last laugh on that one. And House Party keep within striking distance. They're only down by 1.
That's exactly right, Max. It can still go any which way. We saw House Party bring it back to even scores just earlier in this game. They can certainly do it again. They have the ability to do that again. Just Giddy Up will want to be holding this offense, not giving them anything, wanting to stretch this lead out again.
And Shepherd back on the field for Giddy Up. He's played a lot of points this game. They've needed him to provide both throwing prowess and downfield athleticism. He has both in buckets, both in spades, and he's been delivering it so far. We'll see whether he can continue to provide that or whether fatigue does get the better of him.
Zach Chodos going to be pulling downwind now for House Party. Let's see if he can keep this one in or if it's going to be similar to what has happened throughout the weekend.
He does a good job. And as that one lands on Shepherd's chest. Sutton breaks the mark with the around forehand, but it sits up and goes over the head of Abby Dawson. Tamas will look to capitalise quickly. As Chodos swings to Valancourt, to Gann. House Party going sideways, backwards and forth. Now they find O'Neill moving forwards. They're about 8 metres out. Carmen on the mark. Sutton marking Chodos. That'll be the matchup to watch here. As they look to use it, they do. They break the mark. Find Chodos 2 metres out. Crafty thrower. And he'll find Tamas, who can't hold on.
The angle of the disc just wasn't right there. She went for the one hand grab and couldn't hold on to it.
And Dawson goes deep, and Shepherd throws the backhand. Dawson in acres. But even so, Shepherd's throw can't find her.
It was a great look. It was a great run from Abby Dawson. She had a lot of separation there from Molly Valancourt. That disc just had too much outside edge, and it just dropped too quickly. Didn't float out in space for her to run onto.
Abby Dawson, mighty quick when she wants to be, but even she's not fast enough to track down that throw. Had plenty of edge on it as Tamas restarts the offense and immediately overthrows O'Neill and Giddy up pounce. Carmen finds Shepherd up line in front of the bidding Chodos.
Giddy up take half on that one. They're up now 7-5. Just wait and see whether the teams, whether the captains of each team have elected to have a little break or if they're just going to mirror the ends and continue playing on. There's not much time left in this game. We've only got just over 5 minutes to go. House Party needing all the time that they can get to bring this one back.
Crucially, coming out of half, Giddy Up will be going back upwind. This may provide House Party with an opportunity to reduce their deficit from 2-1. But having said that, Giddy Up is starting on 0. So work to do for House Party. We've seen that they've been able to consistently get the turns. The challenge has been converting that possession into runs on the board.
House Party coming out on defense. Got Linus with the pool, Forrest with the pool. He's also got Connell, Wolf, Minescu and Epstein there. They'll be definitely wanting to get a D and then get the downwind point on Giddy Up.
We haven't seen a lot in the way of adapting with different looking defenses yet this game.
Laser pull there, fielded by Thomas. Mortimer back to Thomas to Fernando. Fernando puts it up to Thomas going deep.
Thomas underneath it, he elevates!
He gets it!
Forrest tries his hardest, but it will not be enough.
Thomas there just with the handler cut deep. As soon as he gives that one off to Fernando, he hits the end zone. Fernando sees that, respects that cut, puts the disc out into space. Forrest just couldn't adapt quick enough or react quick enough. And Giddy Up now going up 8-5.
Forrest with the pull the previous point attempted to bury it in Thomas's chest. Thomas obviously didn't take kindly to that and said, hey mate, I'm going to put you on a poster, and runs to the end zone and does just that. And at 8-5 up, Giddy Up are now in a commanding position with the clock rapidly approaching time cap. Just a few minutes left of play and all the work to do for House Party.
House Party now having to play upwind offense. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. Giddy Up obviously with the advantage of going downwind, and if House Party turn this one over, they're going to be absolutely punished, as we've seen happen time and time again from this Giddy Up team. House Party want to stay in this, they need to start getting some more points on the board.
Monty will pull for Giddy Up.
Haldon fields to Wolf, back to Haldon. It's again nearly deep by Carmen though. And then he overthrows to Wolf. It's a question of whether the contact with Carmen there affected his throw.
That's controversial. From our perspective, or at least from mine in the commentary box, it felt like Carmen definitely bumped him. But after that, he then fell over and then threw. There's a bit of...
I think I agree with you there, Mac. Looked like the contact occurred. Gann elected to not call anything. Played on. Was on his knees and then threw the disc up and over Wolf's head. And it looks like it's going to be a turn.
It'll be picked up by Petroni Vran about 12 metres out.
Vert stack in the end zone for Giddy Up, and he wants to throw the inside backhand but can't quite get it. Puts the down the line to Callie. Giddy Up go up 9-5 now.
Giddy Up rapidly running away with this one. House Party just do not have an answer for their incredible depth. Feels like any one of their players on the field could be the one catching or throwing any of their goals. And Petroni Van continues his birthday celebration, looking to cap it off with a gold medal at the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships.
If Giddy Up can take this one out, this will be the second gold medal at this tournament for Tony Van. He won in the inaugural year with Crank from Wollongong.
So no stranger to sand frisbee, I should say. And he's showing his levels of comfort. He's been on the receiving end of a goal, and now he's thrown one.
Alex Shepherd's going to be pulling this one now for Giddy Up. House Party really need to pull some tricks out of their sleeves.
Big pull from Shepherd. Comes down quickly, and a bit of miscommunication by House Party. Means they can't move it quickly, but it will roll out the back, allowing them to walk to the front of the end zone. Chodos is marked by De Silva. That's a matchup we've seen before. And he'll shoot deep, no hesitation. Fernando and Gan. That's a great matchup. Fernando goes sideways. Gan holds on under pressure. He has Valancourt. Opts to go for Manescu. They'll try and move quickly here as they dump back to Connell, keeping the tempo high. Chodos working hard up line. Instead, swings to Gan. Doesn't like what Valancourt's providing. Goes to Manescu at the front of the end zone instead. Gan cuts up line. Manescu 1 meter out. Finds Chodos, but De Silva knocks that one out of the air.
Just didn't quite put the disc out into enough space for Chodos to run onto, and the defender got a hand to it there.
And Shepherd looks to Longley. A touch high, and she can't gather it in despite getting a full hand. Chodos looking to capitalise quickly. And Connell to Manescu. House Party.
It's exactly what House Party need. They really needed that point to be able to stay in this one, to get themselves pumped up for the last couple of minutes in this game. That Hooter will be going at any minute now, any second now.
And there it is. That's time cap, which means we will finish this point and add one to the highest score and play to that. If Giddy Up score this point, it's game 211. If House Party score this point, it is game 210. Either way, it's an uphill battle for House Party. And Giddy Up just need to close it out.
Forrest is going to have the pull there for House Party. It's a 3-women line out there on the field. House Party need to play some really intense defense to get this one back.
Forrest with the big pull. It'll be fielded by Sutton.
Get on!
Sutton picks up the disc to Thomas. Puts up the disc, but it's really flat, and Thomas manages to get her hands on it to Epstein. To Forrest as O'Neill goes deep. The disc is up. She's got plenty of space to run onto. Can she
Sutton
bring it
from
down?
behind! And O'Neill can't regather.
She tried so hard on that one. She had lots of space. Sutton just ran on through and manages to block her out, and she just couldn't quite get there.
Interesting setup from Giddy Up.
Sutton to Thomas. He hasn't really got any options right now, so has to dump it back to Sutton. The undercuts aren't happening, so it comes back to Thomas. And he looks deep to Dawson as Epstein's right on her heels. But Dawson had enough separation to get that one.
End zone to end zone. Michael Thomas fires his rocket launcher of a right arm.
And with that score, Giddy Up go up 11-6. And with the Hooter going earlier, that means it's a game to 12. Giddy Up just wanting to play some hard defense on this point now to get the break and take the win. House Party have their work cut out for them to be able to come back and win this one now, Max.
I think it's actually 10-6, game to 11.
Sorry, 10-6.
But you're absolutely right. The point remains. House Party, lots of work to do. And Giddy Up on the doorstep of an historic victory. have only played together once previously at the 2016 longest day competition, where they didn't come away with any silverware. We'll see whether the time away from the field has allowed them to step up and claim something here.
Both teams just taking a bit of time to figure out what the gender ratio is going to be for this point. With Petroni Van coming out with the pull.
Hands on hips before the points even started. Everyone's tired, but no one's finished working. As Petroni Van launches a pull, it'll float, it'll sit for days. Kelly will be down there to pressure the first pass as Howden gets things moving to Manescu in the midfield. Connell, he'll look to fire. And quick call. Play will resume with Connell. With the disc in hand, couple of cutters downfield. Valancourt streaking to the end zone, as is Howden. The shot comes, it's arcing over the top. Howden flips to Manescu. House Party are still in this one. The party continues.
House Party holds that one, which is exactly what they needed after the Hooters already gone. House Party are going to have to continually play defense and get turns on Giddy Up. Now, if they're going to take out this game, Giddy Up coming out on offense, they definitely want to play some clinical, smart offense, get an easy score and take the W.
But the House Party rages on, and Giddy Up right now are the neighbours next door who have filed a complaint with the police, coming to shut it down. They lead 10-7 in a game to 11. About to play offense downwind. If this game was a deck of cards, it'd be stacked in favour of Giddy Up right now. We'll see where the House Party have an ace up their sleeves.
Just preparing for the pull now. Brett Latham giving his team some words of wisdom there to House Party. Anchoring out their defense line. Telling them what needs to be done to get that turn. The pull's going up by Forrest. Big pull. Lands in the back of the end zone and sits there. That is a great pull. It's still in the end zone. Shepherd with the disc. Puts the big one up as he's got Carmen right in the end zone. Day's closing in.
Fisher Day! Can't shut this party down, baby!
Fisher Day showing the type of plays that House Party need to stay alive in this. Tips it just enough out of in front of Carmen. She can't grab that one, and House Party get possession to try and keep themselves in this game. Chodos collecting the disc and bringing it to the front of the end zone now. Going to be marked by Thomas. House Party playing with three handlers back and have Day and O'Neill down the field. It's a bit of contact down the field with O'Neill and Dawson there. Finds Forrest. Back to Chodos, but he overthrows and he can't keep that one alive. Gives it back to Giddy Up on the far sideline, about 15 metres out. Kelly puts it up. Carmen's underneath it. She
and
holds
Giddy
on
Up,
to it.
get up! That's the goal. Does Giddy Up win the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships?
Final score being 11-7. Giddy Up asserting their dominance throughout that whole tournament, going through undefeated.
House Party cannot defend their title despite their best efforts. It was a hell of a game, but the depth and talent of this Giddy Up roster proved too much.
Both teams had some phenomenal athletes out there today. Even being the first tournament that Giddy Up came together, the chemistry was just undeniable. They had some amazing plays and showed exactly why they deserve that gold medal hanging around their necks.
And what a birthday present for Alex Petroni-Vran as well. He'll keep that one special and close to his heart. Thank you all for joining us as we came to you live from Coolangatta Beach on the Gold Coast for the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships. I've been Max Stenstrom. I've been joined in the booth by Oakley Rynan.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again in the future.